Cool. So when I started my first shot of my third ayahuasca ceremony, I was again writing in my journal, and I kind of just relaxed and let it come to me. And I sat there in meditation, and then I started seeing all these geometric patterns move across my mind's eye, and they were all just moving and swirling like puzzle pieces of the astral realm. And I just sat and I watched, and I was like, wow, this is the most elaborate art. This is so elaborate. And it felt like God consciousness creating art for my eye to see. And it made me want to make art, but I felt like if I go grab my things, I'm not going to be able to see these things anymore. So I need to just sit and witness these colors, and they're colors beyond the physical color spectrum. It was just beyond any kind of art or colors that I've ever seen. And just the more I looked at it, the more elaborate it would get, and it would expand. Like at first it would start as shapes, and then they would become more dimensions to the shapes, and more movement and changing, and the more I looked at it, the more it was very detailed and just elaborate. That's the best word that I could really describe for it. And so I just kept watching them move, and there was some visions of Egyptian symbolism and like just ancient technology and light language that wasn't trying to tell me anything specific. It was just showing itself, and it's just open to interpretation on my part, what I take from that. And there was visions of like this regal horse with like Arabic adornments on it, and it's just in its own, but it was like a painting almost, where there was no one riding it either. It was just this adorned horse, and it was just shifting through different visions. And then it got to this point where I was in a place of peace, like very peaceful place of just closing in on me, surrounding me everywhere, where there was like this altar with an orb on my left side, and I thought to myself, like, why don't you come to my center so I can actually see you better? Because I wasn't going to move my head or move my eye to look at it. I wanted it to come to me. So it was like this crystal altar, maybe made of obsidian or something, and it had like two pillar almost, but they were like sharp, and it was an orb that was breathing with me, but it had its own breath, and I was breathing with it. We were both breathing, and it would expand and contract and expand and contract, and it didn't really have a color, but if it had a color, I would say like maybe like a bright violet, blue, white. It was like a mix between all of those, and I don't know that color. It just would expand and contract and expand and contract. And then I started seeing like almost like a zipper where it would, but it wasn't, I don't know how else to describe it. It was like Aztec shapes where they would almost like gears opening and then unfolding and moving like a gate was opening through that orb while I was breathing with it. And it was like, it was a shape of like, I don't know how to describe it, but it would, all these Aztec type shapes were shifting and opening, and then it just, everything opened, and it was, I was with God, and God was the place. It was a non-physical place, but it was a place of peace, and there was, it looked like holes, but they were eyes, and there was just eyes everywhere, and I wasn't afraid. It was just peace of silence and connected silence. And it was just, they were everywhere. It wasn't like an enclosed space. It was like an infinite space of peace with eyes on the walls, but there were no walls. It was a presence. And I just felt so much peace, and God with me, and me with God, and I just sat there in silence with these eyes, and it was just a relationship with God. And I had cried a little bit, wishing that everyone had a relationship with God, and it wasn't something that I was necessarily looking for, but it was there, and it was just a sense of peace and silence, and then I opened my eyes, and I felt like I had aged timelessly, though I am as young as I will ever be. And there's nothing to really carry, that I shouldn't have belongings, and my body should just be my body, and I don't need to carry anything, and the revelation of that I should wear white silk, and that's all I should wear, and just a cloth of white silk, and that's what I should live in, and I should go around the world and not seek to teach people, but let people come to me and ask me about my story for them to learn. And it was a moment of knowing that I don't need to have any physical belongings, and I don't need to carry anything. All I need to do is bring myself around the world, and people will come to me, the right ones. And I opened my eyes, and it was time for the second shot, and I felt in myself that I wasn't ready, because I didn't feel like there was more to do in this stage of life other than what I had just done. And I felt like praying, but there was nothing to pray for, because I have everything that I need, and I have everything that I want. And if I ever want anything, I could just write it down on a paper, and I know it will come. But it was just praying and a thank you, just thank you. That's all I had. That's all I had to say, and that's all I had to give. And there's really nothing else for me that I need to learn right now. All I need to do is be at peace and be in the eye of God. And God isn't a religion for me. God is just a place of peace. And I can always find that if I'm in my mind's eye. And connecting to the orb, and like just remembering the way the gate opened for me, where it's not a physical gate, it's a zipper. It just unzips through breath, and thought, and it was, and I don't want to say that I reached enlightenment, because that's more like an ego thing, claiming, oh, I am enlightened. It's a consistent process of self-development, and I almost feel like all my goals, I have goals, but those were for my ego, and the rest of it is that I don't need to accomplish anything left, because I'm perfect the way I am, and that's all that there is just being, and there's nothing beyond that. And if I were to die, I just don't fear death. There's no way to fear death when it's not real, and it's just a physical thing. And when I look back to all of my experiences with ayahuasca, my first one was getting rid of all my human problems and getting rid of all the baggage and the heavy weights that were keeping me from the spiritual realm. And then my second one was recognizing my power and seeing how powerful my body is as a woman, and how souls materialize into a woman's body when they're ready, and they choose you, not because you ask for it, but because they're ready. And where souls come from, and the universal knowledge of just everything coming from nothing and nothing being everything at the same time. And how vast and overwhelming that is for a human, but I feel like the consciousness and the soul that came to me and chose me added itself to my soul and almost gave me more of my psychic knowledge, and like I can just, I have no care. There's no care there to really involve myself with the problems of human life. And and then my third one was just like being with God and being at peace, and there's really nothing else left. And that was it.
Thank you. Oh my God, very beautiful.
Yeah, it was mind-blowing, and it felt like my soul was being ripped in half at the same time that it was being fused together with a new soul. And it was like two droplets that had touched each other and just became one big droplet.
Very beautiful. And you just took one yesterday, right?
Yeah, I wanted to take a second one, and then my body and God and my consciousness was like, there's no reason to take a second one. Otherwise, you're just taking this medicine the way you would a drug, and don't you dare use me like that.
Perfect. You were already connected, so it was just what you needed for closing the session. Very beautiful, very beautiful.
And then I was able to actually connect with Klaus while Klaus was going through his thing, and I went upstairs and I laid down on the balcony, and I wanted to connect to the people or the person that I missed the most. And then when I messaged them, I closed my eyes and I could feel the energy through the phone that they were terrified of me. And I sent them love, and then I retracted, and then I looked up, and there was a star directly above me that I didn't try to align myself with. It aligned with me, or I just laid down and it was just aligned somehow. And I realized that, like, even if you're not with people, stars, you don't look at two stars in the sky and they don't miss each other. They're just in the same galaxy, and they don't have to touch in order for them to both be amazing and shine. And then he was pacing around the house, and I invited him to join me, and he said, I don't know if I can. My energy is very bad. And I said, I'm not afraid of you. Just lay down. Lay with me. And he did. And then he got up and he floated away, and I looked back up at the sky, and now the sky is covered in clouds, and I was like, okay, well, the star is still there. And then I went in, actually I laid there, and I just was with love. I was full of love. And
I saw her, and I was like, whoa, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
And then I went on to do my thing.
I saw her also, and I said, nice spot.
Yeah, I was just laying with love. That's what that was, and I could just feel it in my body, and I was like, you know what, like, I can share this. It's unlimited, but also I can just keep it for myself, and it can go either way, and I will be perfect the way it is. And then I finally got up, and then I went into the room. I was like, why you're just laying in the dark? Are you just laying in the dark with love? And she's like, yeah. And then we just start chatting. I'm like, let's go outside. The fire is still firing. And she's like, yeah, I feel like I'm supposed to sleep, but I'm supposed to sleep in the dirt. I'm like a worm? Like a worm, you're supposed to be on the dirt like a worm. And she's like, don't tell me I'm a worm. I'm like, don't look at it like I'm telling you, you look like a worm. Just don't think about what they look like, think about what they're doing. And then we went on a whole spiel on if worms have sex, and if worms even have babies, and like how do worms live their lives,
and if worms have anxiety. Right?
Yeah, do worms have anxiety?
They actually don't feel any pain.
Yeah, they don't feel pain. I actually went on a whole thing where I was learning about worms, and they're actually, all worms are hermaphrodites, and when they have sex, they inseminate each other. So it was like a huge thing, and then I started learning about like genders of different animals, and looking up animals with multiple genders other than female and male, and different alleles, and I really went into like the scientific nature of sex without it being a sexual thing, just like gender and the construct of gender. And it blew my mind that some mushrooms actually have like 7 different sexes, when it's not like a sexual thing. It's just 7 different alleles within fungi, and like some species, like one allele can mate with the other 6, but they can't mate with one that's the same allele of itself. So it's like, it was just a hunger for knowledge, and then Ewan was like, I'm hungry, and then we went down, and then it was, and then I was in the human world again.
Beautiful, beautiful, very beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah.